hard to see. But this is where the work is. This is where the aha moment, the transformation, the openings are available for you. All the juicy stuff is here. And so if we can just be supportive to ourselves and loving in these moments of transformation and finding out these parts of ourselves, this is where we can truly get some work done. So today I want to talk about another part of, it's like part 2 of what we did yesterday. And part 2 of what we did yesterday is focusing basically on any of the emotions, the difficult emotions that came up as a result of what you saw. I'd like to help you complete processing those, because I know that they sometimes, if we don't process, of course, they get stuck in the body. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at what is the effect of having these, identifying these parts of us that are needing love, needing from outside, needing attention, needing all these things. What happens? Over time, the body starts to build a little bit of resentment. And the resentment is not just towards others because of a disappointment that we experience. We put all our expectation on the relationships in our lives, on family. We put the expectation on the dreams and the visions that we have for ourselves based on an idea of what a perfect life should be, a perfect relationship should be. And we realize soon enough that that doesn't work, because perfect relationship is, first of all, we don't know what that is, because how many of us have experienced a perfect relationship in our life? A relationship that is balanced, that is conscious of one another, that is aware, that is loving at the same time in a very balanced manner. So a lot of us, we didn't have the opportunity to actually see and learn from an example that would enable us to then practice that and embody that relationship, that balanced exchange with one another. So we end up stumbling through life, basically going from what our needs are and trying to have those needs met. And we go into these dynamics of giving and receiving that become really toxic. And as we talked yesterday, it's like we come into these needs, constant needs, and the body is storing all of this constant feeling of emptiness, of not being enough, not being good enough, not being whole, not being complete, perfect. All of these programs that over time really break down the multidimensional body. And it shows in a body. When I see a body that has the programs of these feelings of unworthiness, or that they're not being seen, literally they have fragmentation that goes through the body. And a lot of times it creates a really huge stagnant mass in the center core, which what happens, it splits the two bodies in two. Okay, it splits the bodies in two. We have the earth body, the physical plane body, which is managed by the first 3 chakras. And then the upper levels, which is the heart, the throat, and the third eye, which is your gateway to your upper, higher dimensional aspects. And so what happens is that we create a blockage here. And so it becomes really hard for you to connect with your higher self. It becomes very hard to have that dialogue with the higher intuition. And we become disconnected from that intuition, and we no longer know what's right, what's wrong. And what ends up happening over time is a certain fear, right? The fear of the unknown starts to creep in, because we feel lost. We feel like there's no point of reference that we can trust. And we are kind of just blindly moving through the emotions, cause and effect of the relationships that we're having. So little by little, this causes a resentment in the body. The resentment is towards the self, because the intuitive self, since childhood, is constantly telling us one thing. It's telling us, well, I should be feeling this way, or maybe I should come from love. Maybe I could let go of that ego for a moment just to open more space. But the fear body comes in and says, no, you need to protect your ego. So behave this way instead. So we have this constant battle within the mind between these two selves that are battling to preserve and protect and not come into a state of vulnerability that feels dangerous to us, to the identity, to the self. And so we are not used to feeling this way. So in this moment of transition, what has to happen is bring ourselves in a state of vulnerability in some cases and allow ourselves to be in there, to become familiar with vulnerability. And what you'll find is an incredibly powerful, liberating state when you come into that point. Because if you continue to stay in a state of survival, you're doing several things to the body. Chemicals are running through the body. You're creating stress. The endocrine system is really working overtime to balance all of this stress, and it results in inflammation. And the inflammation can end up in weight gain. It can end up in an imbalanced diet. It ends up in illness and imbalances in the body because we are just constantly surviving. So we have to bring the body into a state of balance. And the only way to do that is by managing the emotions. Now, when we are talking about this resentment that kind of stores up in the body, it turns into an anger. An anger. We feel shameful. We feel guilty because we rejected ourselves. We didn't listen to the messages that were coming up. And this translates into frustration in our communications. It comes to a point where we're like, I don't know what to do. Someone says something to us triggering, and we're like, oh, should I respond this way? Should I defend myself? Should I just let it go? And since we're not used to what it feels like to let it go and to sit with their action, it's a very uncomfortable situation, an uncomfortable moment. So in my journey, what I realized is that the more I would practice just observing what happened when someone said something triggering to me and just sitting with the emotion that wanted to bubble up and respond. I mean, for a moment, it gets you here, right? Your anxiety body goes all over the place. But when you learn how to observe that, even in the moment of heated exchange, it is so empowering. You begin to become aware of the dynamics, any kind of manipulative words that are being used to trigger, to pull from you to respond and react. And you even notice yourself, the parts of you that become pained in that moment. And this becomes a state of observation. So, what I'd like for you to do today is to work on the parts of you that feel the shame and the guilt when we don't respond in a loving manner for ourselves, the universe, everything begins and ends with you. So all of the experiences that you're having are a direct reflection of the fears and the anxieties and the imbalances that you have within you. Okay. And sometimes that can be very hard to accept. But if we understand that, then we know that we are fully in control of what we're experiencing. And it is literally, it's like a magic transformation of how you begin to experience your relationships. There is a liberation that happens where we're not creeping into relationships in a state of fear, anxiety. We're not dreading the worst out of these exchanges now. Now we're in control. So what we want to do is access that very tender part of us that is still needing to defend, that still feels shameful when we're judged, that still feels afraid of embodying this kind of very open and I guess raw version of yourself with all its mistakes, with all its errors, with all its the ugliness that is still within us that we feel is unresolved and shameful and should be hidden. I want you to take this moment today to look at that, familiarize yourself with that, with the emotions that come up as you identify those parts of you, so that in this practice it'll carry on in your daily life. And when someone tries to trigger those parts in you, judges you, or highlights that mistake of you, now you know it. And because you know it, you're the master of what happens as a response. Nothing can affect you. This is how consciousness becomes aware of itself through all possible experiences. We begin to rebalance the consciousness in the body in which everything is aware. You're aware of all of the negative parts of you, and you're aware of all the positive sides of you. So nobody can question your worth at that point because you know who you are. Nobody can question whether you're capable of doing something. And even if you're not capable, saying I don't know or I'm not capable, or it's just completely disengages from any kind of interaction that can occur. This is how we begin to change dramatic chaos, fights, arguments, because everyone is taking responsibility for themselves in these exchanges. So let's get started. I want you guys to get really nice and comfortable, and I'm going to run you through this, my loves. We're going to start by inhaling deeply and exhaling. I want you to visualize that you're going to begin by creating a sphere of protection around your body. Go ahead and visualize that. Checking into the body, making sure we have no openings in our space. Very good. You guys are doing great with your protection. Inhaling deeply and exhaling. We're going to ground ourselves, creating a powerful cord from the waist, the hips, the pelvic bone, all the way down to the center of the earth, grounding yourself. Inhale deeply, connecting to this powerful core of the planet, aligning ourselves with the natural circadian rhythm of the earth, tapping into that orgone energy, that orgasmic creative life force that is within nature that rebalances the body. Beginning to become aware of the feet that is connected to the earth, almost as if we have roots descending down into the earth. And with every breath you take, it's almost as if you align yourself with the heartbeat of the earth. And the earth is there like a supportive mother that helps transmute any suffering, any pain. It recycles it into neutral life force. I want you to visualize now that you're going to take yourself down to that center core of the planet. And at the center core of the planet, you're going to see a womb in which it's like a cocoon that I want you to climb into. Visualize yourself coming into this fetal position as you come into this cocoon, completely safe. Breathing deeply as you feel your heartbeat aligning with the earth. This is home. I want you to notice in this space, you are a perfect expression of creation. Nobody can question your worthiness, whether you do wrong, whether you do right, whether you're good enough. I want you to familiarize yourself with this safety. As you inhale and exhale, we're going to see ourselves here in this cocoon. We're going to begin to run energy. I want you to close your first chakra all the way down to the size of a dime. Close the second chakra all the way down to the size of a dime. Close the solar plexus all the way down to the size of a dime. Notice the body go silent. The static stops. The desires of the ego calm down. You're going to go up to your heart chakra. You're going to expand that heart chakra as wide as possible. Opening the center of unconditional love, connection, truth. Go up to the to the throat chakra. Open up that blue light from the center of your chest. Going up to the third eye, open that chakra as wide as possible. Going up to your crown, opening and activating the crown, the creation self. If you're just joining our challenge and you don't have a creative color, I want you to see a blank white screen in front of you, and I want you to see a color that represents your highest vibrational frequency. Go ahead and see that. You're going to fill it into the crown chakra, which is divided into sections like a pie chart. Each one of these triangles represent a certain aspect of your life that makes up your whole. We're going to start with the intellect. I want you to fill that in with this color. The next is the emotions. Next is your environment. Next is your health. Fill it in. When you do this, you are changing the frequency of your overall body. You are changing what you are attracting in all these areas, in these sections of your life. Your health, vitality. Next is your abundance, money flow, creation, exchange. Fill that in. Next is spiritual, the spiritual self. And finally, your life purpose. Fill that in. Very good. You're going to inhale deeply and exhale. As you see yourself in the center of the earth, like inside of this womb, I want you to visualize bringing up a powerful green energy from the earth that's going to enter into your body, into the center core. Visualize that green healing energy coming into the body. Breathing deeply, inhaling and exhaling. From the universe, from source, you're going to bring down a powerful wave of golden light that comes down through the crown of your head, down your spine, combining with the green earth energy at the center core. I'm going to create a channel of elimination. 10% goes back down to the center of the earth. Send yourself back down. Send up 80% up your spine of that green and gold energy, and like a fountain, create a fountain on the outside of your protective field, coating, clearing, cutting cords with anything that doesn't serve you. And the final 10%, you're going to pull it into the body. Visualize that green and gold energy coming in, penetrating into the pores, the flesh, the muscles, the bones, into the cellular level of your body. Excellent. As you're running this energy through the 3 dimensions of your body, everything that needs to be released from the multidimensional body will go out, either down to the center of the earth, or it'll go out through the crown of your head, out into the cosmos, out of your space, neutralizing it. So I want you to begin to review now that you are in this womb. I want you to begin to notice throughout your life, from womb, birthing, childhood, adolescence, and adulthood. I want you to review your life and notice the times that we have felt shame for who we are, shame or guilt. Take a look at that. As you begin to identify those parts of you that have felt shame and guilt throughout your life, I want you to see them in a crowd, all of those selves. I want you to notice, is it a man or a woman that plays the role of causing these emotions in your body? Look throughout your life. As you see fragments of yourself in front of you, I want you to kind of notice and see, is it necessary for these beings, for ourself, our fragments to feel this way? Is what we're being told to be ashamed of true? Take a look at what is it that the self wants in that moment. And is it wrong for wanting what it wants, what it desires, what it wants to receive from this exchange? Right now, you should feel that emotion pretty strong in the body. I want you to inhale deeply and exhale. I want you to identify what parts of the body are storing this memory of shame. I want you to scan your body from head to toe, every cell of the body. We're going to ask that we release, we become aware of where we're storing this shame in the body. Notice the parts of the body that are affected by that shame, by that guilt. Is it in the throat? Is it in the solar plexus, in the sexual organs? Take a look at that. I want you to ask yourself, does this person in the cocoon, do they deserve to feel those emotions of shame and guilt? Are they not perfect? Are they not a balanced expression of source? I want you to take that emotion that you feel and you're going to begin to make it leave the body. I want you to visualize the earth around you inside of this cocoon is going to absorb all of those feelings of guilt and shame. And this cocoon is connected to all of these fragments of yourself throughout your life. They're like little spots of yourself all around you that you're going to take from those spots, from those little bubbles of memory. You're going to pull out all of those emotions of shame through this womb, through this cocoon at the center of the earth. And you're just going to allow the earth to pull it out of the body, pull it out until the body of yourself and all of these fragments come into a state of neutrality. Breathing deeply, inhaling and exhaling, releasing. Notice how it gets stuck in the stomach and the chest that might feel those emotions, that wants to protect the self. I want you to ask, why do we keep coming into these emotions of shame and guilt? What's the pattern that keeps happening within us? Take a look at that. How can we nurture this part of us, all of these fragments that are still feeling unworthy? Go ahead and visualize providing them with everything that they need. And I want you to notice that what you're going to be absorbing into the body is this incredibly orgasmic, balanced, creative life force energy that is the expression of perfect balance. It is whole, complete. This is what we know as love, unconditional love. So I want you to visualize that there is a color, just to simplify this, a color that represents this unconditional love without judgment, without fear. And you're going to begin to feed into that womb, to yourself in that womb, this love. You're going to pull it in from the earth, pulling it in from the perfection of every natural living organism on this planet, which is balanced. And as you do, the entire body begins to recognize its perfection, its alignment in nature. A plant does not question its purpose in the world. It doesn't question whether it's perfect or not. It just exists, wildly existing without fears. And so this is where we want to come into. We want to be fully present with everything that we are and everything that we believe or not. Inhale deeply and exhale, absorb it into the body. I want you to create a channel that comes in through the tailbone, into the spinal cord, and you're going to wrap the spinal cord in this energetic color. As you wrap it around the spinal cord, it's detaching any cords that have connected you to people, places, and things that continue to bring you into this emotion, that trigger this emotion within you. We're just going to neutralize it. The spinal cord is what heals the rest of the body. It feeds the organs, the blood flow, the information moving from the brain down to the bodies, through the nervous system. You're going to go up to the brain, into the pineal gland, allowing yourself to absorb that unconditional love, that healing energy into the brain, through the crown of the head, and you're going to bring it down back the front of the body. Inhale deeply and exhale. Go ahead and take a look at all these fragments, my loves. Now that you have removed that energy out, go ahead and provide them with this love. See them transform. And while you're doing this, I want you to see in a crowd all of the people that you are used to responding in this way, with shame and guilt. See them in a crowd in front of you. Notice where they are at, their emotional state. What are they trying to do? What are they trying to get? Just observe that. See how the cycle continues with all of these people of feeling of lack, of fear. We're going to surround them in a golden sphere of light, and I want you to see their origins. And you don't need to know all their origins. I just want you to imagine that there is a network of connections connecting them to where they come from on this planet. And those networks, these cords, represent this program of shame and guilt that we share collectively as a human race as a result of an illusion of separation. So I'm going to Gently lift those cords from the planet Earth. This is all our participation in those cords that we're clearing. And we're going to gently cut them on their end. And you're going to pull them out of your body. All of the beliefs that we're holding on to intergenerationally, through culture, religion, society, race, our identities. Anywhere where we contribute to this, you're going to pull it out of your body. And this is where you've released from the cells. So now just grab those cords and pull them out. Also neutralizing any time that you've caused someone else shame or guilt with our judgment. I want you to notice that a lot of these cords are connected to the solar plexus. And this is where we create that blockage in the body that splits us with blocking our ability to connect to the higher aspects of ourselves. It is this limited vision that does not allow us to see our multidimensionality. So release that. Inhaling deeply and exhaling. Good. You're going to go back to your fragments, my love, and you're going to absorb those fragments into that womb. Allow that womb to take back all of its life stories, its life experiences. See that womb light up and radiate this transmuted understanding of these emotions within us. I want you to take this time to feed it with all the healing that it requires in order to rebalance itself from all of these, let's say, battle wounds of the past. Refill yourself. You're going to start with the root chakra. As you're going to open that up back into a balanced state, you're going to spin it as fast as possible, clearing out any blockages in the root chakra. Now, the root chakra looks like a flower. It's a very simple imagery that I can share with you. Each one of those petals are like ribbons, like encoded DNA. And when one of these ribbons are broken or shrunk or not present, this is information that is either controlled or constricted because of a fear program or blockage. So what I want you to do is I want you to look at your chakras like they are these flowers, and I want you to expand. I want you to observe it. Notice if it's missing any of these petals, any of these ribbons that extend from the center of the vortex out. And you're going to just pull it from the center out, extending all of these imbalances in the chakra system. starting with the root. And I want you to cut cords. Some of you have some pretty heavy cords in the lower back. I want you to cut those out, remove them from the body. Some of you have some cords on the lower right hip of your body. Pull them out, cut them out. On your chest, solar plexus, pull them out. And on your necks and throat. I'm just scanning the room here. So if that resonates with you, please do that. And some of you have it in the wombs, in the sexual organs, man or woman. Notice if you have any cords there. And when we pull these out, notice how they are like tentacles that you are detaching from multiple organs, multiple parts of the body. You're going to inhale, absorbing into your body, releasing. And as you exhale, you let go. You let go. You're going to go up to the sacral chakra, spinning it as fast as possible. Again, it's like a ribbon, like flowers that we are pulling from the center out, rebalancing the chakras, front and back. These are vortices that face the front of the body and the back, the feminine and masculine aspect of each one. So making sure that those chakras are spinning in a very balanced way. Notice if it's moving to the right or the left, it will inform you on what's needed there. Going up to the solar plexus, same thing. Spinning it as fast as possible. Removing it, bringing it back into a balanced state. All of those blockages go out, front and back. Going into the heart chakra, spinning it as fast as possible, rebalancing that heart chakra, bringing it into a balanced state. Going up to the throat, spinning it as fast as possible. Clearing out, cutting cords. Going into the third eye. I'm scanning everybody's body, and I'm going to be working with you in just a moment individually before we end. So going into the crown. Expanding that up to the eighth, activating the eighth, activating the ninth, activating the 10th, the 11th, 12th, and the 13th. Above you is a powerful white light of source. I want you to connect up into that white light, bring it down over your body, seal your body all around you, merging with that womb. I want you to climb out of that womb and come back into the body, healed. Bring that into the center core, the solar plexus. Healing any states that are feeling disempowered in the solar plexus. We bring the body into a perfect balance, perfect expression of empowerment, of awareness. This aspect of ourself merges with our spine. 7 bodies in, 7 bodies out, all charges down to 0, negative infinite. Inhale deeply and exhale. Very good. Thank you for joining us.